Welcome to the Kyero.com Spanish Property Podcast, where we interview people who recently purchased a home in Spain. They tell us what worked, what didn't, and what they'd do differently next time. I'm Beth Davison, and today I'm speaking with Cal, originally from Temperley, who is in the process of buying an apartment in Fuengirola, Malaga. As a property developer, Cal was in a good position in understanding the process of buying abroad. And just wait until you hear about how he found his dream plot while on holiday, just by driving by the right place at the right time. Cal is working with estate agent Más por Menos to find his dream home in Spain. Check out the show notes at kyero.com/podcast to find links and resources mentioned in this episode.
My name's Cal. I do property developing in the UK. I've also got my own business in restaurants. I bought my property. It was the Panorama with Kronos Homes. The development is just off the coast of Fuengirola. The exact location is just at the bottom of Riviera del Higuero, which is a really beautiful location.
Great stuff. And when did it all first start for you? Let's go back to right to the beginning of this journey. When was the first thought to buy in Spain?
First thought to buy in Spain was probably in 2005. I really love Spain, been there quite a few times. Had a look to start with in a place called Murcia, which I think they pronounce as Murcia in Spain. Had a look around there. It was really nice, but it was just very quiet. In 2012-13, we started to visit Marbella, and we really liked Marbella. So me and my wife had a look round, and we stayed at the Doubletree Hilton at the Riviera del Higuero, and we really loved that location. We had a look round there, but the properties there were very expensive. I think there was the Med One development, and there was another development on the left-hand side. I'm not sure what it's called. There were some beautiful apartments, and we were kind of outpriced there. And when we visited back in 2017, we saw Panorama with Kronos Homes. There was just literally a pod there, and we drove past. They were just setting it up, so we knocked on and we said, "Have they got any apartments for sale?" And we were introduced to Veronica, who was really lovely. She was part of I think she's part of the Kronos team, or possibly one of the representatives that are selling the plots. And she explained everything and asked us to come back and make an appointment the following day, which we did. And that's how it started.
Fantastic. So as in the first time you saw it was just driving past? You hadn't seen it online or in magazines?
Literally nothing at all. We literally, because obviously we were staying at the Doubletree Hilton. We stayed there quite a few times. And there was just this amazing pod there. And it was, you could just see from where it was positioned, the view. So nobody's there. So we were actually kind of knocking on the door, trying to see if somebody was in. And Veronica came out, and she just literally was setting up, but she was so polite, so nice. They didn't have hardly any information. And straight away that evening, she said, "Look, when I get back, I'll speak to the developers and I'll get some emails sent to you." And she sent me all the information that night as promised. And then we went back to see her the following day, and she showed us the site, she showed us the pictures and what it's going to be. So we kind of had a vision of what the development would be, and we just fell in love with the development. Yeah, that was the journey, yes.
Yeah, that's ace. That's such a nice way to do it, actually. So by that point, had you already researched kind of the process of what it would be like to buy abroad? Did you already know your budget, those kind of things?
The budget was obviously the budget is always on the left side. So we spent a little bit more than what we actually intended to spend, but that's purely because we got a bigger size apartment. But I was very familiar with how it works in Spain, because obviously I was looking at buying in Murcia back in 2005, but I knew the process, and obviously because it's something that I do in the UK, I bought properties in the UK. It wasn't dissimilar to buying in Spain.
Did you find, because of your profession, that you actually didn't need that much external help, or were you still asking lots of questions to people along the way?
I've never bought off plan. Well, I have bought off plan in the UK, but never kind of 2-year or 3-year build plan. I've bought off plan where it's going to be ready in 3 months kind of thing. So you exchange contracts pretty much straight away. So probably, yes, that has helped. But the way it's explained, and anybody who has bought in the UK will totally understand how to buy in Spain. It's similar. You would use a solicitor in England, you would use a solicitor in Spain. Like having an agent in England, you have an agent in Spain. So it's very, very similar. But what really struck me about the development was how professional Kronos Homes and how Veronica was with all the details and the information they had. They weren't pushy at all, and they really, really were passionate about what they have to offer. They had other developments that they told us to go and have a look at, and we did. We went to Bella Medina, where they've got a development there that they started building. And there was another development that they had in Estepona, but that's not started yet. But we had a look at that.
And so what was the build plan when you first met Veronica? What was the kind of timescale she gave you?
The timescale she gave us was, she said it's 2019 the builds would be built, but looking more realistically at 2020. But they're going to try for 2019, but expectations at 2020, which was perfect for us because obviously it gives us time then to raise the funds and gives us time to kind of get everything ready. And because buying abroad, obviously, it's a big thing.
Totally. And you're actually the first person I've spoke to who's still in the process. A lot of other people have already moved very recently, or they've had their house for years. So at this point, did you have to put a deposit down, or are you still raising all of the funds?
No, we put a deposit down. We put 6,000 reservation down, but I told her when we get back to the UK, we'll send that. And she was really, she said, no problem. I gave her a date and we agreed a date. And she said, I'll take it off the market for you. So they were really kind in that manner because obviously the plot that we had was quite a nice plot. And when we got back to the UK, we then sent the money over. She gave us an option of a few solicitors and a few banks where we could possibly open an account. But then we went back to Spain 2 months later and we went to see a solicitor, one that was recommended. So a really nice solicitor, Santiago in Marbella. Then I went and opened a bank account with Sabadell, and that was pretty straightforward. So we're at the stage now of signing the contracts, which is the 10% deposit, and then we have to pay a further 20% deposit. Obviously, that's less the reservation that we paid.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. This is a really exciting point in the journey. So what do you have to go out a lot now to check on it, or are you just going to kind of sit tight?
No,
and
we don't. We don't have to go out a lot, but we love Spain, so it's an excuse to come and have a look. But it's not the trust factor. We trust the developer. We know it's happening. We've been there. You can just tell by just the pod that they had was a very expensive pod that they put down just with nothing there, and the flags and the site. So you could tell that So we're not worried about that in any way, shape or form. But we come to Spain 2 or 3 times a year because obviously it's close to the UK, 2.5 hour, 3 hour flight. It's very, very good value for money because we go to Malta as well, and the price in comparison, Malta to Spain is pretty much a third of the price in comparison to Malta, and that's not just on food or transportation. That's literally on everything else.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So there's a massive. You get so much value for your money in Spain, and it's such a beautiful country as well.
So looking ahead, when it's all kind of done, so 2019, 2020, how do you envisage using the house? Are you going to pop over for the occasional weekend? Are you going to move permanently? What are your sort of thoughts on it?
The thoughts on it is obviously my wife would like to furnish it similar to how our house to the UK is furnished. So until it's furnished properly, so we'll probably go over there, have a look at it, and then straight away order the furniture. We'd probably stay at the Hilton Hotel for 2 weeks while we ordered everything in. Once that's in place, we'll try and come over as much as we can. So, because I've got two little boys, one's 6 and one's 8, so that we're restricted for timing, obviously with the schools. That's it. So for school holidays, that's the idea, because it is very expensive when you come and stay in hotels. Plus, you always have to take your luggage, and it can be a little bit of a headache just traveling with your luggage, unpacking. So the thought process is we have a base there, and we can have our things there. And whenever we decide to go, we can just get a cheap flight and come over. And we don't really need to bring much because everything will be there. And my wife is thinking as well of possibly we have 1 year out where we take the kids over for 1 year, just as an experience in our lifetime while the kids are young, maybe when Adam reaches 11, 12, and Elias is kind of 9 and 10, that we would kind of move there perhaps for 1 year just to see how it would be living in Spain and having my boys go to school there.
Yeah, totally. It'd be an amazing experience for them. What's the area like for kids?
Lovely. I mean, the majority of Spain is really, well, where we've been in Spain, all the costa is really nice. But for kids, there's so much facilities. There's football clubs, there's tennis clubs. It's just the way of life in Spain is totally fantastic. It's totally different to the UK. Where I live, I'm pretty local to Manchester city centre. We wouldn't dream of taking our kids out. So living in Manchester or near, we live actually in Altrincham, which is part of Cheshire, but Manchester's very close. We wouldn't dream of taking the kids out after 9 o'clock or even 8 o'clock into the town centre, whereas we could happily stroll down the promenade in Marbella or Fuengirola or Malaga, anywhere, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and it's full of families and everybody is so friendly, and the love for children is phenomenal in Spain. You know, wherever you go in Spain, your kids are always welcome and greeted, and that's what we love about Spain.
And kind of looked after, I suppose. There's sort of a community element to it.
Absolutely. It is, and it's very family orientated. There's a lot of respect for people, for foreign nationals. It's just a beautiful country, and the Spanish people are really, really nice. They welcome the people from the UK, and I'm sure from other parts of the world, to their phenomenal country.
And how many bedroom is your place going to be if you're bringing the boys out there regularly? Have you got room for guests as well? How big did you go?
We've got a 3-bedroom. We didn't go for the penthouse because that was quite expensive, but the 3-bedroom, it's really big, beautiful views, uninterrupted sea views. So it's on the second floor. It's got a lounge, a kitchen. It's got a guest bathroom. It's got an ensuite, so it's quite a big apartment. So it's bigger than what we anticipated to buy. We would have probably only bought half the size because that's what we really needed. I mean, a 2-bedroom would have been fine, but obviously, given where this position was, and given that we were buying off plan as well, so we had that reduction in price. Because I definitely envisage the price being so much more once the whole development is complete. So buying off plan, you're definitely getting a very, very good discount. So it was an opportunity for us not to miss, yeah.
Do you mind me asking how much your budget was in the end?
Well, what we paid 363,000 euros. Our budget was between 100 and 150,000 pounds. That's what we said we'll spend in Spain.
Okie dokie, so a little over, but...
Just a little bit, yeah.
But worth it by the sounds of it. And it's really interesting that off-plan will actually give you a reduction. I'd never thought about it in that way.
No, off-plan, definitely. I mean, especially what Spain's gone through, and it's been regulated now. You know, there was the bubble, but there's not much. If you look at Spain, the coast is filling up, and there's not, you know, with the restrictions from the councils, there's not going to be a lot of developments that will be on the forefront on the sea with the sea view. So land there obviously will get more expensive going forward. So I feel we've really bought at the right time and the best time possible.
Are you seeing it as an investment, or do you not worry too much about the kind of growing in value?
No, I mean, everybody wants their property to grow in value. Everybody wants their bank account to grow in value. It's just the nature of us as humans. But I have not bought it for that. I know confidently it will go up. Would it bother me if it didn't go up? Not that much. I'm not bothered if it goes up, but I definitely can see the value of this probably doubling over the next 2 to 3 years once it's been built.
Interesting. It's going to be fascinating to see. That's excellent.
Because when we bought this, the same plot with a development that's further up the road, which is called Med 1, which is a lovely development as well. And we're probably talking 1.5 times the price of the plot that we've got. So Kronos Homes have really, really been competitive on this development. And they've not, the build itself is such a sound structure. And you can tell, I've asked about the materials, how they built it, and you can look at the design and it's fantastic. So they're not cutting corners. It really is state-of-the-art development.
It just sounds like perfect timing. Like it was a little bit like fate, you driving past it.
It absolutely was. And how many times do you think, oh, I missed the boat on this development, I missed the boat on that development, I wish I bought it at the beginning when it was off plan, when it was so much cheaper. And this one, because like I said, we were going back maybe 4 days after, and literally that pod just landed there, and we just was knocking on the door, and we were one of the first to have a look at the development. And
it sounds like my final question is any tips that you've got for people doing similar things, and I'm guessing bravery would be a part of it, right? Because you have just thrown yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, I have and I haven't. In certain sense, you can't sit back and think, well, I'll wait, because you'll never lose out. There'll always be other developments, of course. But as a tip, I would say, just do your research on the developer, have a look at the developer, definitely get a solicitor. That's the main thing you need to do. And obviously open a bank account and just be confident in the development. But if it says yes from day one, then I would definitely go for it because Spain is such a lovely country, and I don't think anybody would lose out going forward buying in Spain, regardless of the press it's had in the past where obviously prices have gone up. But still, the prices are so cheap in comparison to other countries. If you look at France, Nice, or you look at Malta, what you will get in Spain is you'll still pay half the money today in Spain. So you're still going to get good value for money. And it is one of the best coastlines, I would say, probably in the world.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree. But good luck on the rest of your adventure. It sounds like it's going to be quite the next couple of years. It's going to be brilliant.
Definitely. Was really excited, obviously. So we can't wait for it to be completed. But we will still go and visit and have a look, and because we stay around there. So, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. You can just see it growing. Well, thank you so much for chatting to me today. That's perfect.
No, you're very welcome.
And good luck with it all, Cal.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Cheers. Bye. Thank you for listening. And thanks to Cal for sharing his experiences, along with Mas Pormenos for their help to make this episode possible. I particularly like the idea that Cal found his dream home through fate, and that once it's built, his 2 sons are going to have a whale of a time, perhaps even for a whole year. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. This podcast is produced by Kyero.com, and our mission is to connect you with estate agents and properties throughout Spain. Whether your dream home is a rustic farmhouse surrounded by olive groves or a lock-up and leave apartment on the seafront, you'll find everything you need at Kyero.com. If you've enjoyed this episode, we'd really appreciate your 5-star rating on iTunes. It helps us reach and connect more people with their dream home in Spain. And whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways we can help you. Ask a question by emailing beth@kyero.com. We'll try and answer them all in an upcoming Q&A episode. Get a location guide also by emailing beth@kyero.com. We'll reply with the latest data and information on the areas you're interested in. Calculate your budget. Simply visit kyero.com/budget, enter 2 numbers, and you're done. Be our guest. If you've already purchased your home in Spain, we would love you to share your story on the podcast. Just email beth@kyero.com and we'll take it from there. Tune in next week when I speak with Juliet and James, originally from London. They purchased an apartment in Barcelona, and for them, it was all about the hustle and bustle of the city. Oh, and loving the food, of course. I'm Beth Davison, and you've been listening to the Kyero.com Spanish Property Podcast. I'll see you next week.